してはしゃぐ君の顔を思い浮かべた 夏の夜のマジックで今夜だけのマジックで歌わせて今なら君のことがわかるような気がする夏の夜限りのマジックで今夜限りのマジックで身を任す夜明けが流れるまでふふふふ暮らしの中で生まれる歌を歌って幸せ悲しみつまんで思いながら歩いた打ち上がった花火を見て笑った君を思い出したよ、yeah、今日だけは夏の夜のマジックで今夜だけのマジックで歌わせて今なら君のことがわかるような気がする夏の夜限りのマジックで今夜限りのマジックで身を任す夜明けが流れるまで記憶に蓋をするのはもったいないよ時間が流れて少しは綺麗な言葉になって夏になると思い出す別れの歌も今なら僕を救う気がする 少し先が見えてしまったんだ。優しさをためらった顔が映った。誰かが見たらそれは血合いかのように収まったその一枚は美しい。ラムネのビー玉みたい閉じ込められてるから美しい。出そうとしたら割れるからどんな感じで返せばよかった。貴重な記録も怖いと嫌うけど写真くらい撮らせてツーショット記憶が形になって分かった。やっぱり怖かった。気持ちが残したいとさ君に限って君と思ってた。ガラスの向こうに問いかける追いかけるいつまで。だけども恋は散ってった拾った葉の裏側にあった見たことない表情を表だけで恋なんてしないように。だってそう好きたい真面目は今日も上がった頃で吸い込むまでもうちょっとさ。異物は常にあって油断したら壊れてしまう気配を知っていた。でも体を重ねるたび危機感は足に変わっていった。黄昏が近づいてくる音の響き方は今も忘れない。それは一応に見たらそんな小さな音今日はのバイオだけどあり続く気がした。あなたは季節にまたがる用心棒。そんな日々5回と夏の終わり二人と閉じた僕らの夏もいち早く秋に向かっていった。さよならは怖くない何回も続いたのにどうしようもなく好きだって青み。だけども恋は散ってった拾った葉の裏側にあった見たことない表情を表だけで恋なんてしないように。だってそう好きたい真面目は今日も上がった頃で吸い込むまでもうちょっとさ。 계절이 20번이 바뀌어도 여전히 나만 그대로인 것 같아. 내 말투는 너무 서툴러. 툭 하고 던진 말에 상처를 주네요. 능수능란 사랑받는 듯 입을 빌려 내게 말하고 싶어. 그러나 이제 말하기 바쁘지. 나의 부족한 면을 설명하느니 빛나는 별보다 빛나는 옷보다
Bark, 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 bark.
비 오는 거리에서 춤을 추자. 지금 아무것도 몰라. 아마도 넌 그럴 테니. 오지 않는 지금 비 오는 거리에서 비 오는 거리에서 춤을 추자.
ひらめきは切な輝きはとはこの胸に突き刺さったならキラチュー踊りたいの歌いたいのすれ違って振り返ったならそれはキラチューあの曲ならもうプレイリストから外したアドレスもアカウントも変えたの写真も消した終わったことだもん素敵な音見つかるけどこれじゃないみたいイントロだけは最高心奪ってほしいのに始めたいの忘れようもう巡り合う新しい恋はキラチュー踊りたいの歌いたいのすれ違って振り返ったならそれはキラチューキラチューキラチュー그저 숨겨놓은 상처들이 반창고를 부셔서 보이지 않았을 뿐 그대로 남아있잖아 차가워져 버린 내 마음은 더 이상 이어폰을 끼지 않고 오늘도 시간을 소모そんなルーティンも抜け出すかのように聞こえる懐かしいのメロディーときめきは永遠心奪われるやっぱりあの曲しかないね光浴びてビートに抱かれ傷も癒えたけ
Drink water, you dehydrated bitch!
She asked a favor. I wanna get thunder. You're a stamina. Well, I'll be thunder. Puff together. Yeah, we used to gather. Cause we look sadder. Call back our chamber.
Para 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 para.
Welcome, friends, to another r/am I the jerk?
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you.
Am I the butthole for telling my brother the truth on why I don't ask him for anything? I, 19 female, have 3 brothers, 27, 28 and 32. My oldest brother, Dave, got married to Sarah in May. I study halfway across the world from my hometown where my family are. I got really sick a few months ago and rushed to the nearest hospital. Turns out they don't accept my insurance and I had to pay out of pocket. I was 50 euros short and called everyone I could, but no one was picking up. I then called my oldest brother, Dave, because he always picks up, and asked him to send me 50 euros and I would send it back once I get paid in a few days. He told me not to be ridiculous and he didn't need me to pay him back 50 euros. Sarah called me that night and asked how I was doing. After the chit-chat, she asked if I could ask someone else the next time I need money because my brother is a married man. I was shocked, but I apologized and said I offered to pay him back. She said it's fine, but next time, I should plan my finances in advance so I won't have to rely on a married man. It's my birthday soon and Dave called to ask what I wanted. I said nothing and that I was fine, but I appreciated him asking. My other brother called to ask what I wanted and I said I wanted some money to heat my apartment. I couldn't afford to heat it this month. He was baffled that I was so broke I couldn't afford heating and I wasn't saying anything. He started tearing up on the phone call with me and ended the call, and sent me 500 euros later. I guess he told Dave about the call with me because Dave called me and started interrogating me on why I just told him I didn't need anything, and then asked my youngest brother. He sounded offended and asked why I feel like I can't rely on him. I asked, haven't you spoken to Sarah about this? He was confused on what I meant, and I told him about the conversation I had with Sarah after he sent me the 50 euros for the hospital. He said he'd call me back, but he hasn't. A cousin of mine sent me a message a few hours ago saying I was a jerk for meddling in their marriage, and that Dave didn't owe me anything. I was like, when did I say Dave owed me anything? I have never relied on him for anything, nor do I plan on it. I mean, I feel bad that Dave and Sarah are fighting, and I can't help but feel weirded out that Sarah did that behind his back and he had no clue. I've been extremely anxious and I can't stop shaking. Am I the butthole? Not the butthole. Sarah is a manipulative arse. Your brother had no idea she had that conversation with you. Sarah's now playing the victim. Your brother maybe realized what sort of nasty person he may have married, because there may be a lot more things along the same lines that you have no idea about. Not the butthole, there is something seriously wrong with your sister-in-law. Do not trust her. Personally, when someone starts to show me this type of behavior, if I cannot get away from them, I keep screenshots and record conversations just in case they start playing games and fricking with me down the line. Not the butthole. WTF, did I just even read? Of course your brothers would be baffled that you want freaking heat as a birthday present, and I hope Dave forces Sarah to apologize to you, publicly, as should your cousin. Whyna? Sarah is a greedy and possessive witch. You should be able to rely on family, and you offered to pay him back. Sarah is the witch. Am I the butthole for showing no emotion to my family over my vegetarianism? I have been a vegetarian, pescatarian, for around 4 years. My family loves meat, so I buy my own vegetarian options and cook my own food. Thankfully, most of my culture's food can become vegetarian if you just don't eat the meat or just eat the seafood version. I don't force my family or others to be vegetarian, and I never will. It's their choice whether or not they want to try it. And I also eat plentiful, even gained a little weight, so I'm not starving as many would think this lifestyle would be. I also take vitamins like iron and other supplements that I may be lacking. I am grateful to have most of my family members to understand my life choices. It doesn't really bother them, as our culture basically mostly eats seafood. But I do have certain members that just will never accept it. By that I mean they would constantly tell me to eat meat and insult me. Every single time my dad and I go to the family gathering and get to the food, he would loudly say so everyone can hear, "Oh, they don't have food for you here, so you have to eat meat." Stop being vegetarian. Cut to me staring at mostly seafood options, soups,
There
rice,
we
etc.
go.
And every time
Hello.
I would give him no emotion after that. Yes, I've told him plenty times how that bothers me, but he doesn't care. Recently, I met my uncle, who happened to be a nurse. The reason why I mentioned this is I thought nurses would have an open mind to different lifestyles, as nurses accommodates to different patients who have different preferences with their diet and culture, including those with vegetarian lifestyles. But once he found out I was vegetarian, he kept telling me to eat meat over and over again. He was laughing and he turned to me expecting some reaction, but I
This
gave
might
him
be
none.
every art
No
stream
emotion
now.
whatsoever, not even a smile
Because
or a
of how
chuckle.
stupid
No
it
comeback,
is.
none.
I kind
Just
of
stared
love
at him
it.
blankly. Respect is such an easy gift that was never given.
Hello,
I know there are some who will never
KFC.
want to be vegetarian, but they still
I
respected my
can't
choice and never
concentrate.
forced me
There's
to change.
way too much going
My
on.
mother stepped me aside and told me I was being disrespectful for not talking
I
and being
keep-
nice to my uncle. Am I the butthole?
I keep just
No,
staring
sorry
at
for the confusion,
the
but the reason I call it
the
vegetarian is
Subway
because in my
surfers.
culture, seafood isn't
There were a
seen as
couple
meat,
times
even
I
though in the
stopped
English language
drawing.
it is. But it's up to you whether or not you
And I was
consider it.
just watching Subway
Not the butthole.
surfers.
You did nothing wrong. Why is it disrespectful to not react to them being rude to you? As an aside, you aren't even vegetarian. You are pescatarian, which isn't the same thing. Not the butthole. Silence can be one of the best responses to people who say inappropriate things, especially if what they really seek is an emotional reaction. Am I the butthole for not defending my BF when my brother asked him to leave? My 28 female boyfriend,
Some of these
27 male,
stories, though, they're
Ryan,
fucking
likes to help others. He
insane.
is the type of guy who would give a coworker
The
money for their rent or buy
fuck?
groceries for our neighbor.
I'm not
However,
the
he
asshole
can
for
take it too
eating
far at
my
times.
grandparents.
He often tries to help people without asking if they need or want his help.
grandparents?
Every
Dog.
year, my brother, 35
It
male,
tried to bite
Paul,
me, so
and
I
his
taught it a
33
lesson.
female, Lily, host a
Someone
holiday
makes
dinner.
whole
This year,
personality
Ryan
about it
attended
and
for the
doesn't
first
stop
time.
about it.
Before we left for the
Ah,
house,
vegan.
I told Ryan that
Yay.
Lily was legally blind and had been her entire life. She knew what she could and could not do. I told Ryan to only help Lily if she asked for help. We arrived early so I could help Paul and Lily cook. While we were cooking, Ryan kept telling Lily things, like, "Lily, if you're looking for the salt, it's to your right," or "Lily, don't put that there, It's too close to the edge. Lily and Paul both
What
told
the
him that
fuck
while his
are they
commentary was
talking
somewhat
about?
helpful, it was completely unnecessary. Still, Ryan did not stop.
I'm
However,
pretty sure
things
the
became
vegan
tense when
one
Lily
was
went
like
to go chop vegetables. When she pulled out a knife,
it's like
Ryan
5
stopped her and asked if he
stories
could take
ago.
over because he didn't want Lily to hurt herself. Lily said she'd be fine, but Ryan insisted she give him the knife.
Anyone
Finally,
making a
Paul got
single
annoyed
thing
and
their
told Ryan to stop.
personality and pushing it.
Ryan did
Yeah.
stop, but he kept hovering over Lily
Except
while she was chopping.
for
I asked Ryan to sit
Wolf
down until dinner
MlLF.
was ready, but Ryan insisted that he
if
just
that's
wanted
your
to help.
personality, push it
Finally,
on everyone.
Lily asked him and I to help set the table and greet people
On
arriving. We did,
everyone.
but things were still tense. I did pull Ryan to the side and reminded him again to only help
Right.
Lily if she asked for it.
I did
He
plan
agreed,
to
but I could tell
actually
that he was still
do
upset.
things.
Everything finally boiled over after dinner. My nieces, 5'3",
I
have a
actually
game they
did
love to play
fuck
with their
all
mother.
on Friday
They
when
will
I
hand Lily
got really
something,
drunk.
and Lily would have to guess what it is. Lily would sometimes make a couple of clearly outrageous guesses, like saying an egg is an elephant or a shoe, to make her daughters laugh. After dinner,
Do
the eldest handed Lily the
anything.
salt shaker. When Lily guessed it was a phone, Ryan piped up and said it was a salt shaker. Lily laughed it off and explained the game to Ryan, but I could see she was annoyed. My niece then handed Lily a coin.
What the
When Lily guessed
fuck
incorrectly,
happened
Ryan
here?
loudly told Lily it was a coin. This was apparently the last straw for Paul. Paul demanded that Ryan leave since he clearly couldn't respect Lily. Ryan insisted that he was trying to be helpful. However,
What are they
Lily said it
talking
was
about?
probably best if Ryan and I left.
So what's
I
the
quickly gathered
juicy
up our things
gossip
and
going
managed
on
to
in
convince
this?
Ryan to leave. Ryan is currently pissed at me. He said I should have defended him, especially since I knew he was only being helpful. He also insisted that I should have stood up against Paul's overreaction, Ryan's words. I'm now wondering if I should have defended Ryan. Am I the butthole? Not the butthole. Ryan refuses to accept when someone tells him no and stop. Use this information wisely.
What are they
Not the
talking
butthole.
about?
Ryan didn't deserve to be defended there. I'm sorry, I'm sure you love Ryan, but good lord, he sounds insufferable. He wasn't being nice. He was being patronizing. Lily
Being a
neither wanted
very
nor needed his
naughty
help.
boy.
He stuck his nose where it didn't belong and he was asked to stop numerous times. I would have kicked him out too. Am I the butthole for selling the Nintendo Switch my aunt got me for Christmas? Let me preface this by saying this is a throwaway account because I'm sure family will
These
recognize
are
me.
all very tame.
So here's
the
the
ones I
situation.
get on TikTok
I,
are
17
fucking
male,
insane.
recently got a Nintendo Switch for Christmas from my aunt. I was over the moon when I opened it. I've been wanting one for a while, but I couldn't afford
Like,
it.
am I the
So
asshole
fast
for
forward the next
cheating
day,
on
my
my
aunt hands me a note.
husband
I
and
read it, and it's a list of rules and regulations
forcing
that she
him
wants
to
me to
raise
follow
the
while playing the
tutor's
Switch.
child?
According to her rules, I have
I
to
don't
give her
understand
daughter,
why
who is
my
also
parents
visiting,
hate
a
me.
certain amount of playtime each day whenever she's around. I have to keep the volume at a certain level. I can't play any games with violence or adult themes, which is basically just anything rated above E10+, and I'm not allowed to let anyone else play it without her permission. There was also one other rule. I had to enable parental controls so she could monitor my activity. To give you some context, I see this aunt maybe twice a year. I understand that she's just trying to look out for me and make sure that I'm not playing inappropriate games, but I felt like she was treating me like a child and that her rules were a bit ridiculous. So I decided to sell the Switch online at a steep discount and use the money to buy a new one without any strings attached. My aunt found out and got pissed, saying I was ungrateful and that I should have thought about her feelings before I decided to do something so selfish. My parents are also mad at me and say I should have just talked to her about it first. Did I do something wrong here? Am I the butthole? Ha ha. Well played, young man. And sounds like the relative from hell. Not the butthole. Not the butthole, you are 17, not 7. Gifts with strings aren't gifts. If you were my kid, I'd be patting you on the back for thinking outside of the box and finding a solution to her rules. Good job. Not the butthole. She didn't give you a gift. She gave you a contract/obligation/responsibility. Better, I think, would be to have read the rules, politely said no, thank you, and handed it back. But the money is nice. Am I the butthole for making noise in the gym? I, 26 male, came back to my suburban hometown for the holidays and signed up for a gym membership
Oh,
at
I
the
want
local
to find
Planet
some
Fitness
like
to tide me over while I was away
really
from home.
juicy ones.
I've been going to the gym for 5 years now and think I'm familiar with typical gym etiquette, but maybe I'm off?
I want the
Today, I was
really
doing chest flies
juicy
on the
am I
cable
the
machine at a
asshole?
fairly heavy weight for me. At
I
the
want
end of the set,
really
as
juicy
usual, I'd
asshole.
stop, let go of one side near the pulley, and then aim to let go of the other
Where's
somewhat near
some
the other
really
pulley, as the
juicy
other pulley would
asshole
pull me after
video?
letting go of one side. Given this was the cable machine, it made a decent amount of noise at the end of every set when I let go, but I wasn't making noise in between reps and it's not like I was
Nuclear
letting go from full
Revenge
extension.
ones are good, yeah.
After 2 sets, a person, 30-35 m, Came up to me and admittedly asked me politely to make less noise.
Malicious compliance is also
Edit.
good. There's
For clarity, this
so
person was another gym goer,
much
not an employee.
slop ass
Afterward,
Reddit
I tried to
bullshit.
more gently let go
That's
of the
just
cables near
quite
the
fun
floors,
to watch
maybe 4 to 6
sometimes.
inches on both sides. This still made a bit of noise, but no more than any other machine might make. The guy came back and said something along the lines of, "I already asked you to stop nicely. This is dangerous and also might crack the weights. I'm not going to ask you again." There was a bit of back and forth, but I said I'm putting it down lightly. I'm not going to gently touch down the weights. Letting it go near touching is already more than a
Am I
person
the
typically
asshole
does.
for calling
He
my
also said his
soon-to-be
safety worry
MILF
was that the
an
noise might distract
insecure
people lifting weights.
bitch? That
Am I the
one's
butthole for
good.
telling my husband he is a bad dad to one of our kids?
Ooh, this one
Me,
sounds spicy.
36 female,
This
and my
is the
husband
spicy
Will,
shit I
35
wanted.
male, have 3 kids: Adam, 9 male, Maddie, 7 female, and Megan, 6 female. Will has always been into
Soon
video
to be
games,
MILF.
Star Wars and anime,
Yeah.
etc. It's never been my cup of tea, but I think it's healthy that we have separate hobbies and interests and we have other stuff in common.
Did I say
When we had
MILF?
Adam, Will was super excited to share his interests with him
MILF.
and bought him Star Wars themed baby drones and
Mother-in-law.
toys, etc. for Adam's first Halloween. We
Not
dressed him up
mother,
as
I'd
Darth
like to
Vader, and
fuck.
it was super cute. It was the same for the girls. I did tell Will that I had
That
no
would be
issue
a
with this while
funny
the kids were
way
small,
of
but we had to let
referring
them
to
develop
your
their own
like
interests.
pregnant
As it
wife,
turns
though.
out, both Adam and Maddie
Soon
love
to be
playing
MILF.
computer games with their dad and have similar interests, so there have been no issues. The problem now is that as Megan is getting older, she is showing more interest in princesses and Barbies, etc., and finds her dad and siblings' interests boring. Will seems to have an issue with this and keeps trying to encourage Megan more towards his interests. At Halloween, he seemed annoyed that Megan wanted to dress as Elsa, as he always took pride in Maddie not dressing up as a princess like lots of her classmates. This Christmas it has come to a head as Will spent all of Boxing Day playing the Switch with Adam and Maddie and helping them build Lego while leaving Megan out. Will has offered Megan to play with them, but she
Oh,
wants to play with her new
diabetic
toys and the
child
games that she
refused to
likes. I played with Megan most of the
'Cause
day, but she
Jesus,
asked if she
yeah,
could play
that
her new
happens
Barbie game on the Switch
sometimes.
for a while with her dad. I told them all to let her have a turn and play the Barbie game with Megan. Adam and Maddie were actually fine and seemed to have fun, but Will kept making fun of the game and telling Megan that other games like Mario
Don't
Kart
worry,
were far more fun.
Jesus will
I could see
give you
Megan
brain
losing confidence and
surgery.
wanting to play the game, and she started to say she didn't want to play anymore. So I
Pray
pulled Will
really
aside
hard
and
and
told
it'll
him off
come
and said that
down
while he
and
was a great
just
dad
give you
to
that
Adam and
brain
Maddie, he was
surgery
being a
you've
bad
been
dad to
waiting
Megan
for.
by ignoring her interests. Will was really hurt by being called a bad dad and has been quiet ever since. The kids are now starting to notice that their dad is upset. I'm now wondering if I was too harsh, as he is generally a good dad and I do know that he loves Megan as much as he loves Adam and Maddie. Edit. Thank you all for your comments. It's been really helpful to read through them all, although some were hard to read. Will saw this post, which I have to admit to myself I knew was a possibility as I used real names. We are going to have a long talk after the kids are in bed this evening, but he has apologized to Megan and surprised her with tickets for the Frozen musical in the West End, and they are currently making plans for a daddy-daughter day out to London to have fun and see the show. I'm hoping this was the kick up the arse he needed, as I do genuinely believe he is a good dad and a good man. Not the butthole. I told them all to let her have a turn and play the Barbie game with Megan. Adam and Maddie were actually fine and seemed to have fun, but Will kept making fun of the game and telling Megan that other games like Mario Kart were far more fun. This is pretty gross. Will doesn't sound like much of a dad at all. He just sounds like a guy who likes having fun with miniature versions of himself. Not the butthole, he is being a bad dad to Megan. He is an adult and mocking her interest and not respecting the fact she is her own person. You did exactly what needed to be done. Would I be the butthole for giving a prize photo of my great uncle to a museum, against my other relatives' wishes? There are very few photographs of my great uncle. He died during the D-Day landings, and so they are incredibly dear to us. One of the most valuable of them was as him as a very young man of about 15. The town he was born in had strict segregation laws. He had already been in trouble with the law, in the delinquent courts, for flouting these and repeatedly associating with African Americans. The prized photo in question shows him and a young
This
African
story is
American woman quietly dancing in front of
This
a very
story
large,
is a bit of an
menacing and
oof.
scowling but silent mob during the very end of summer. He was by all accounts very sweet on the girl in question and was planning on returning to marry her, which would have been obviously illegal, once he returned home. A museum of African American culture and history would like very much to display the image as part of a focus on those white Americans who disobeyed segregation laws before World War II. I own the photo in question, passed to me through my granddad, and am planning to donate it. I know my relatives will be absolutely incensed by this, but I feel that there is a wider story that my great uncle belongs to that is not ours alone. That way you and your family maintain ownership, but they are able to display and profit from. Not the butthole. I would definitely have the photo replicated, but seems a wonderful piece of history, especially to document the racism of the times. Am I the butthole for calling my soon-to-be MlLF an insecure bee?
Hey, this is the one.
Female, 28 is getting married on Jan 2, 2023. I'm the eldest and only daughter. I have 3 younger brothers. This is a big deal for my parents, and despite my fiancé, male, 27, whom we'll call D, plan not to ask anything from our parents since we paid for this wedding. My parents insist on giving us money for my wedding. They told me they don't want to see me settling for my second choice simply because I can't afford my first choice. On the other hand, my soon-to-be MlLF, let's call her J, is trying to take charge of everything. D is her eldest among her 2 sons. Before, J keeps on saying marriage is just a piece of paper and we should get married when we can afford it, but when she found out my parents gave us money for the wedding, she keeps on asking how much it is and she will double it. We declined because knowing her, we'll hear about it the rest of our lives, and also, we have enough money to spend. I have a big family, so does D. J has a close friend who is so horrible. D is friends with her son, but he can't stand her either. She spread horrible stories about me when I started dating D. She almost ruined us, among other things. I told D I won't invite her to our wedding. He agreed. Then we found out J invited her. When we confronted her, she told us it's her right and that she'll be paying the most anyway. Again, we didn't accept her offer to give double what my parents gave. I cried a lot but decided to let it go. She's also telling us what flowers and motif and theme to have, which we respectfully said no since D told her he's letting me choose what I want. We asked J if she wants to come with us for our gowns, but she said she'll just buy a ready-made dress from a famous designer. I'm very close to my mom. My mom always asks for my opinion about her clothes, shoes, etc., so I choose some dress designs, and when she approved them, had them custom made. We had our final fitting today and she looks so beautiful I almost cry. J came with us to see D's suit. When she saw my mom's dress, she told my mom that it's inappropriate and that she's trying to upstage the bride and that it's not a fashion show and she should have the decency to choose the proper dress, blah blah. I was halfway into fitting my reception gown, but I can't control my anger, so I went out and lashed at her. I told her it's not our fault she didn't get a customized dress when we asked her to, and we even offered to pay for it, and my mom isn't upstaging me because I choose that dress for her and it's a simple yet elegant dress, so it's proper, and it's not my mom's fault that she's an insecure bee and that if she say another word to my mom she'll be uninvited. J turned to D, but D said he agreed with me and that she's being too much. She left the boutique fake hysterical crying. Now I feel bad and I think I should let it go, but I can let go disrespect towards me but not towards my loved ones, especially my mom. Am I the butthole for not keeping my cool and saying it to my soon-to-be MlLF?
Why does it look like a bulge? Why did you
Also,
point
tell
it that way?
Jay's
It
friend
looked
that
like
she
a
is not invited,
bulge.
so there isn't any confusion. ETA, it's your wedding and the only people that should have a say here are you and D. Not the butthole. But you could have handled the situation a bit better, in my opinion. It's your wedding. You are paying for it. This means that you get to choose and organize everything. If your MlLF doesn't like it, too bad.
You
She
like
can
a
either participate
bulge.
under your conditions
Sniff
or
your
not
bulge,
participate.
woo. Is that what
Those
you
are
want
literally
her
her
to
choices.
say?
This is what
Oh,
she
this
needs
is
to
your
be told,
bulgy
very
bulgy.
kindly, yet very directly, and it should come from both you and your fiancé. Kindness is important here though. As badly as she might be behaving, she is still a human being with feelings, as well as the mother of your fiancé, so you'll be dealing with her for a good long while. It's best to keep things cordial while still setting clear boundaries. Not the butthole. Come at me all you want, I'm a grown-ass woman. Come for my mom? You will regret it. Am I
What's
the butthole for
ironic
allowing my daughter to call
is
my husband
that
dad?
dumb people tend to
Long-time
have more
anonymous lurker,
children.
first-time poster.
Yeah.
So I am, female, 27, and I have a 3-year-old daughter. She was the result of a one-night stand, so her father, Sam, and I were never together. But he was very adamant about being a part of her life. We share custody evenly and for the most part co-parent very well. The problem right now is in regards to my husband, Tom, who I met when my daughter, we'll call her Allie, was around 1. We married earlier this year. We're fortunate enough that he's able to be a sort of stay-at-home husband, and on the days we have her, he
Yeah,
takes
that's
care
what
of
I
her
was
until I get
thinking
home
of,
from work.
Idiocracy.
He loves that Allie with all his heart, treats her like his own blood. So naturally she sees him as a father figure. We hadn't been encouraging her to call him Dada, but when she did it he was so over the moon and it didn't even cross my mind to correct her. Well, earlier today when Sam dropped Allie off at our house, she ran straight to Tom and yelled Daddy. In all the time I've known him I've never seen Sam so pissed off. And hurt. He didn't say anything in front of Allie, but he called me later and blew up. I'll make one thing clear, Sam is an excellent father. I would never purposely try to diminish that. It's just that Tom has also taken on a very fatherly role in Allie's life, and I think that should be recognized. The thing I'm struggling with is that I know I would probably be a little uncomfortable with Allie calling another woman mom at first, but if she loved my girl as much as Tom does I'd get over it. I just am really conflicted. This is the first big parenting conflict we've ever dealt with. Am I the butthole?
Like my sister,
Not the
3
butthole.
kids already,
She's
and
lucky to have 2
probably
dads
4th.
that love her so much.
Jeez, that's a lot. That's a
Stepdad here in
lot
a
of
very similar
children.
situation. Bio dad who is 50-50 as daddy. Kiddo has his own nickname for me that
Making
no
up
one
for
else
the
calls me.
fact I'm
He
not gonna
occasionally
have
introduces
any.
me to other people as his dad, and it melts my
Other
heart.
people
But
are
I'd
like
never dream of
18.
taking the title
I'll
of
have
daddy away
0.
from his bio dad. Very soft, you're the butthole. But for real, correct your kid when they do that. Come up with a special name for your husband. I want to say not the but I actually have to ask how she ended calling him Dada and Daddy if you never referred to him in such terms. Where did she pick it up if not from you? That combined with the fact that you later talk about how you think Tom's role should be recognized kind of makes me think that despite you claiming otherwise, that you encourage this. Edit, can't keep replying to every comment. Fact of the matter is that it was revealed in the comments that this was encouraged/taught following a single isolated instance of the child using Dada. My questions and skepticism were justified in this case. While I appreciate that kids can develop calling people certain things on their own, that isn't what happened here. Some of you might see the single instance as this developed naturally. I do not see it that way. Am I the butthole for removing my brother's devices from my iCloud account? So my brother does not have an Apple iCloud account. Not a big deal since I have an account, and he's been using my Apple account for his devices. I decided to be the nice older brother and let him use my accounts. We are of course love Apple devices and have Macs, iPhones etc. anyways on the notes section of
Let's
my iCloud,
redo the
which is on all
boys
devices that have my
video.
account. I write my diary, don't ask why.
It's
I
at the
just do
part where it
what I
got
didn't
stuck
realize
again
and
for
probably
half
should
an
have
hour.
password protected to from the start, but the notes synced onto the cloud, and were accessible from my brother's devices. My brother, who usually never opens it, decided to open it today, and while we were eating dinner, he decided to start reading out my diary in front of my parents. I flipped the frick out on him, and told him that if he were to keep reading through my notes, personal information, that I was going to remove his devices from my iCloud account. That night, I took all my diary entries off the cloud.
There we go.
The next day, he did the same thing again at dinner, but this
Oh,
time
they
with a more
should be
personal
every,
diary
like,
entry.
chill
He must have
stream I
saved it
do
while it was still out on the cloud.
when my
I
voice
didn't
is a
flip
bit
out
balked.
or yell at him. I told him in the calmest way
So the
possible that I was going to
complete
remove his devices
fucking
from my iCloud
slop
account, and that there was
content.
nothing he could do to stop it. He then started
Have it
crying
be
and apologizing
complete
for reading my
slop.
diary, but I told him it was too late and he needs to make his own Apple account. My mom thinks I'm the
I
odd
don't
because he's
need
just
to
trying to tease me
talk,
and
I
have
just
fun, and
need
that he
to
doesn't know how to make his own
have
account. I
this
had no
going.
issue with him using my Apple account until he started snooping through my personal stuff. TLDR, my brother accessed my diary entry via the cloud, read it aloud at dinner in front of my parents, and I've removed his devices from my Apple account. Am I the butthole here? Edit, alright you guys, I will help him set up his new account and recover any game progress, but that's as far as it's gonna get. Edit 2, I have personally made sure he deleted everything related to my diary entries on his cloud. Edit 3, well, I guess I'm no longer helping him create a new account. He has already done that himself without telling me.
Joe, hello.
I just found out now. Anyways, he has apologized to me, and I told him to respect boundaries next time. Not the butthole.
How you doing?
Do not bite the hand that feeds you, or provides you with free cloud or streaming access.
Itachi,
Not
hello.
the butthole. Not only did he read your diary,
How
but
are
he
you
read it out
doing?
twice. Your mum is wrong. This isn't teasing.
And
It's an
I'll
attempt to
no
humiliate
worries,
you,
Wolfie.
and that's never funny. Your parents aren't prepared to teach him how to be a decent human being. They should have shut this down the first time. Not the butthole. As an older sister myself, I can perfectly understand you. He shouldn't have read your diary in the first place, and once he did, he at least shouldn't have read it out loud. What you did was 100% fair. P.S. I hope you don't have any problems with your family now that they've heard your personal notes. Am I the butthole for telling my sister I won't babysit her kids because I'm not going to expose myself to her ignoring of her older son's problem? My older sister has 2 sons with her husband. Harley is 10 and Everest is 5. I'm female, 19. Ever since Everest was born there have been issues with Harley and him not liking his brother. He tried to give him away all the time after Everest was born. He'd tell his parents to take his brother back and forget about him. He'd try to leave him outside. He would scream whenever anyone tried to get him to interact with his brother or pose for a photo. All the early family photos Harley is trying to get out of and ones of him and Everest, he was mostly held into place because he would get up and leave. I expressed concerns before, so did my grandparents who live with my parents, and me at the time. My sister and her husband said they were getting Harley some help and he just need time to adjust. But he never did adjust. He doesn't want to be around Everest, he rejects him repeatedly, ignores him, yells at him when he asks him to play or for a hug. Everest gets so upset when his brother gets mad at him, and he also gets upset when his brother is there and won't talk to him. Sometimes he will not talk to him at all in a day. I have seen it before. I have also witnessed Harley try to lock Everest out and all kinds of stuff. I brought it up again more recently and I was told all siblings bicker and sometimes they are close. Harley has told me before he doesn't ever play with his brother, doesn't ever want to be in the same room as him and will never like him. I have asked him why and he just says because and he doesn't have to and he doesn't care. He also rejects any attempt from me or my grandparents to get them spending time together with us. So all of this known, I was asked to start babysitting on Thursdays and Fridays after school for the boys. I have an online store where I sell stuff and set my own hours so I could. I have helped friends before and cleared my schedule for it. My sister wanted me to do that for them but I said no. She asked me why, told me if I wanted more money. She started off with how much they'd pay when she asked, and I said it wouldn't work for me. She told me she could really do with my help. I told her it's not going to happen because I do not want to deal with her ignoring Harley's problem, which would be most obvious if I were to babysit on a regular basis. She told me I have no right to judge and as someone who is practically a kid, I should stay out of someone else's parenting. Am I the butthole? Not the butthole. This is a particularly unsafe situation for Everest, and they need to wake up and address it. Their children are not bickering. Tell them to put that extra money into Harley's therapy. Not the butthole. Your sister needs to start facing this issue before it escalates. Perhaps you can get with your parents/grandparents and confront her about it. She told me I have no right to judge and as someone who is practically a kid, I should stay out of someone else's parenting. So she agrees you shouldn't be looking after her children? Great. Problem solved. Not the butthole. Am I the butthole for not giving the bracelet away? I, 42 female, have a son, 17 male, with mental disabilities. He is in a public high school and is, for the most part, treated well. But, last week there was an incident involving bullying. The school had no teachers witness it, so nothing could be done. Also, this past weekend, we were having a garage sale. I had a nice leather bracelet for sale for $10. I also had some other jewelry on sale for the same price, but my friend wanted to buy it. I offered it to her for free. It just so happened that the mother of the bully was at the garage sale, and wanted the bracelet. Upon seeing my friend getting jewelry for free, she asked for the friendship discount as well. I told her she could get it. I knew her, but not until she or her daughter apologized for their actions. She was just as much at fault as her daughter, for reasons I won't go into, and a simple sorry would have done. She refused, so I told her to pay full price. She tore me a new one following that. She said that it is unfair, and that I shouldn't withhold her discount to her just because of what her daughter did. We aren't even really friends. Not the butthole. Not friends means no discount. Not the butthole. Lol. It's a garage sale. Is she really trying to dispute a policy that she just invented? Am I the butthole for not letting my little stepsister climb into my bed when she's having nightmares? My dad married Joelle 2 years ago. Joelle has a daughter Sunny who is 4 and she's 6 now. I'm, male, 16. For the last 8 months Sunny has been getting really bad
I'm
nightmares
not
at
gonna
night, and when she
lie.
gets scared
My
she always
mind's
wants to
kind
get
of
into my bed.
turning into
I've
mush
never
right
let
now.
For me it's weird and I don't want to have her right next to me. That feels like something you'd do for a little sibling, and I know
So
she's my
when you
stepsister,
watch all
but I
this
don't think
shit
about her
on
like just a sibling.
TikTok,
I don't
your
love her.
mind just
I
turns
don't want
into
her
a bit
cuddling me or
mush.
expecting that from me. But the last month, since her nightmares got a whole lot worse, Joelle has been on my ass about sending Sunny away and leaving her to cry in her room. I told her she should tell her to go to her if she's having nightmares. But I'm not going to let her in my bed. Dad asked me if we could
I
compromise.
think this is a
Like would I sleep on the floor
dangerous
in my room or
format
hers
to
and give her
use.
comfort that way? I asked why it has to be me. He said because Sunny seeks me out and clearly she finds comfort in me being close.
Very
I
dangerous.
told him I do not want
Use
to be involved at all.
wisely.
Joelle jumps in and tells me that I should be doing all I can as a big brother and imagine how it must feel to Sunny. She must think I don't love her or accept her as my sister. I didn't argue about that. I just told them I did not want to have her in my bed or get out of my bed and sleep on the floor for her. Christmas was tense and the three of us are arguing all the time. Dad told me he really thinks I should do it. He told me he'll be extremely disappointed if I'm okay with just letting her suffer and not helping. Am I the butthole? Some info: Sunny's dad died before she was born. My mom died 8 years ago. Sunny is close to her mom and during the day she seeks her out a lot, but at night she only seems to want me. I spend every second weekend at my maternal grandparents' house and Joelle has wanted to stop that, so Sunny has me here. But I made sure I could still go. Sometimes I consider moving
No
in with them so
worries,
Sunny can't come to me
then.
every
Have
night.
good sleep.
Not the butthole. I think it is really weird for them to be wanting you to go against your comfort zone when they ought to be comforting her themselves. If you're not showing her comfort after nightmares is
Hopefully
saying
all
you don't
this
love her,
lot
then them not
content
showing her comfort after
has
nightmares
turned
is
your
saying they don't
mind
love
off
her.
enough to
I
just
feel
go
bad for
straight
both
to
of you, and
bed.
Sunny frowned that Lil One needs to feel safe.
Bye bye.
Also, you say she seeks her mom out a lot? Does she go to school? Any reason to suspect anyone is abusing her? What are her nightmares about? Sad to think about, but is it possible you are one of the only positive older people in her life? Not the butthole. I just told them I did not want to have her in my bed or get out of my bed and sleep on the floor for her. Christmas was tense and the three of us are arguing all the time. Dad told me he really thinks I should do it. He told me he'll be extremely disappointed if I'm okay
They
with
just
just letting her
said
suffer and
this.
not
What the
helping.
fuck's going on?
Ask your dad if he is going to clear your name in future when Sunny tells people that her stepbrother, who is 10 years older than her,
Bark,
cuddled her
bark,
every
bark,
night.
para,
Or
para,
she
bark,
mentions it
para,
at
bark,
school
bark,
and
para,
then CPS,
para,
etc.
para,
are
bark.
informed. You are 16 years old.
Thank you,
You wake up after a wet
Ben.
dream and
Have
Sunny's
good
PJ.s are
sleep.
covered in your DNA. Not the butthole. She is not your child and your stepmom and dad are putting the expectation on you to deal with something they should be handling. Poor kid. Would I be the butthole if I refused to let my ex stay with me? My ex recently started dating the love of her life and bull rushed to move in with him quickly. She had been roommates with a friend of hers and burned a bunch of bridges on her mad dash to be with Mr. Right. It didn't work out. He is now giving her until some time this week to be out of his apartment. She's not on the lease and has only been there for about a week. The roommate refuses to take her back in because of the burned bridges. Her family lives in another state. So she sent me a text saying that she was coming over to stay with me for a little while. I told her no. We share a toddler. One of the bridges my ex burned involved her reneging on her promise to watch our toddler while I'm at work. I'm the custodial parent, because she would need the time to bond with the boyfriend. I scrambled to find a new babysitter before I needed to be back to my job. So I don't see the need to help her when she was willing to ignore her own child for a new so. Here's where I might be the butthole. My ex is trans. It's winter where we're at. Snow is on the ground. There's no guarantee that she can find an open spot at a homeless shelter. If she can get into one, she'll be put on the men's side. I verified that. She has sent me multiple texts telling me that I'm in butthole, a petty jerk, and that word that starts with C for endangering her like this. So, would I be the butthole if I refuse to let her stay with me? Not the butthole. Consequences also start with a C. Not the butthole. She made choices in life, some of those choices have consequences. She made her bed, now it's time to lie in it. Her being trans is irrelevant, as is the fact that shelters won't let her stay with her gender. A smart person would have acknowledged at least the possibility that things with Mr. Perfect won't work out, and not left herself with no options. The fact that she is less privileged does not entitle her to special treatment by you or others, such as helping her out where you otherwise wouldn't. So she can go to the homeless shelter, or she can try and scrape together transport to go back to wherever her parents are. If it were me, I'd lend her whatever the bus fare is to travel to wherever her parents are. Don't count on seeing that money again, but it's something you can say she hasn't changed if she never pays you back. Not the butthole. She abandoned her toddler for this other man. You and your child are another bridge she burnt. She should move back to her parents' state. Am I the butthole for saying nah to my parents when they said I'd get my Jeep back? On mobile. I had a 2008 JK Jeep that I loved when I was in high school. She went into repair for about 10 months at this point. But over the remaining high school and the first half of summer I was severely depressed. To the point I was barely human. The second half I had friends to help me get out of this hole. As I slowly became more mentally stable, I realized my parents held a lot above my head in order for me to do things for them. Including this Jeep. After more time working through things did I realize I had most of my mental decline on this Jeep. I realized every time it was taken away, I would get hurt. And I had stopped loving it. After the last time my dad threatened to sell it, I just said okay. He kept the Jeep because he needed to fix it. There were a few things wrong: main death wobble and some seals. I had to help because I don't know. Well, I just didn't. Now fast forward to December, I have no clue on the status of how functional the Jeep is, but dad is driving it. I was told to clean it to pay back my college fees. Whatever. On my break, my dad and mom said they had a late Christmas present. They were giving me my Jeep back. They asked how it feels to have her back. I just said nah. They asked what I meant and I replied that I didn't want it. Now they are scrambling to come up with a deal with me because the other reason my dad didn't sell it was because he wanted it to pass down to me since it's a manual and I can drive manual. My sister can't drive manual. My parents said they'll give me till tomorrow to think about it, to give themselves time to come up with something for me to take back the Jeep. I'm still saying no, and I'm happy about it. I told my sister about it and how I'm laughing to myself at them scrambling. She said that I was in butthole for doing this to them. That they spent about $2,500 on repairs and I told them to just sell it. After that, my mom came out to tell me to keep my head up and straight, which means to think things over and not to feel bad. I nodded and went back to cleaning as she went to work. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. If I am, I'll own it. If not, not a big deal. So Reddit, am I the butthole for downturning my parents' present? Not the butthole. I don't know how old you are, but you're making a fine choice drawing this line in the sand. I never did. Now I'm in my late 30s and only now refusing gifts to avoid the extortion and insults that come with their so-called generosity. Damned bastards. Not the butthole. Presents don't come with strings. Am I the butthole for ruining the holiday pictures by leaving with my daughter and making my mom waste her money? I, 22 female, have a 4-year daughter named Sage that has very firmly rejected anything even remotely girly since the second she could talk. I was like that too as a kid, and even now the only time I'm ever in a dress and heels is when it's for family pictures. My mom is insistent on us having a specific look for our photos, so I'm used to wearing stuff I don't like for a picture session during every major holiday. I hated it as a kid, and I still dislike it now as an adult, but it's something I'm willing to get over when I have to. Sage, on the other hand, absolutely cannot be persuaded about it. I've always taught her to be herself and to do what she likes as long as it's not hurting anyone else, so now whenever I've asked her to put on the dresses Grandma picked out, she'll turn it right back around and tell me that she can't be herself in a dress. She's a very clever kid, and I've realized that I'm kind of going back on what I taught her by trying to make her wear what my mom wants her to wear. This year for our holiday pictures, I asked Sage what she would want to wear. She said she wanted pants and a tie like the boys, and she wanted me to dress like her too. I made sure it was all still within the color scheme of what everyone else had on, and that it fit the vibe of the pictures. When we got to the picture studio where the rest of the family was, my mom asked why Sage and I weren't wearing the dresses. I explained that Sage didn't want to, and that we found something that still matched the theme of the outfits anyway. My mom told me that the only way Sage and I were allowed to be in the pictures was if we were wearing dresses, and that I was being a pushover by letting my 4-yo get her way that easily. I told my mom that I'd be willing to put my dress on for the pictures, but Sage wouldn't be wearing hers if she didn't want to. My mother said again that unless both of us were in dresses, then we weren't getting photographed, so I said okay and Sage and I left. We ended up taking pictures together at home instead. My mom called saying that my refusal to compromise and my sudden leaving ruined the holiday pictures for everyone else. She also said she wasted her money on the photos because she wanted some with the whole family, but now we'll have to take different ones since my daughter and I aren't in those. I offered to send her the pictures that Sage and I took at home, but she refused those and said that at this point I was just mocking her. She wants me to apologize now, and my dad is asking me to just apologize too because he doesn't think it's worth an argument. Not the butthole. You and your daughter have the right to your body autonomy. Your mom clearly doesn't respect you or your boundaries. Not the butthole. Your mom doesn't get to police your or your daughter's clothing. She's the one who wasted her money because she couldn't let go of outdated beliefs and decided to berate you about something that isn't her business at all. She could have accepted it and she didn't. She ruined it for herself. Holy hell, not the butthole. Your mom sounds like my worst gender binary nightmare. You sound like a wonderful mother and Sage is in really good hands. Props to you for letting her be comfortable in her own clothes from day one. Am I the butthole for not punishing my daughter for telling her cousin that her dolls don't have feelings? I, F30S, have a daughter Erin, 10 female, and my brother, M40S, has a daughter Ariel, 14 female. Erin and Ariel are very close and can spend hours and hours chatting away. They love spending time together and have similar interests. I should mention that both Erin and Ariel have been diagnosed with autism. Erin's symptoms are a lot milder than Ariel's, though. Ariel is developmentally delayed and goes to a special needs school. She really struggles to make friends and is nonverbal around new people. Ariel is very prone to meltdowns and can't tolerate a lot of everyday things. Erin, on the other hand, you wouldn't be able to tell is autistic unless you were very clued up or she told you. Her symptoms are there, but they are subtle. Erin struggled more when she was younger, but she has been taught coping mechanisms. On to the story. For the past couple of years, Ariel has been obsessed with collecting baby dolls. All she wanted for Christmases and birthdays was baby dolls. Ariel treats the baby dolls like they're actual babies. She'll spend hours feeding them all, changing their diapers, holding them, cuddling them, etc. They all have full names and Ariel gets upset if she can't get home to them on time. Of course, there's nothing wrong with her doing that. It makes her happy and no harm done. Yesterday, my brother invited us round, and Erin and Ariel went upstairs to Ariel's room to talk and play. After a couple of hours, Ariel runs down the stairs crying and runs towards my brother and hugs him. The conversation went like this. Brother, Ariel, what's wrong? Why are you crying? Ariel, Dad, do my baby dolls have feelings? Brother, why are you asking me that, sweetie? Ariel, Erin said my baby dolls don't have feelings and that they aren't real people. Do they have feelings? My brother went silent for a few seconds and gave me a weird look. Erin soon after came downstairs, and she told Ariel that she's sorry for upsetting her. Ariel told her it was okay. My brother told us we should leave, so we went. On the drive home, I asked Erin what happened. She explained that Ariel was showing her some baby dolls she got for Christmas, and Erin made a comment that one of the baby dolls looked prettier than another. Ariel got really upset and said that Aaron was going to hurt their feelings and told her she needs to apologize, and Aaron told her they don't have feelings and they're just objects. She said she thought Ariel knew they weren't real and didn't expect her to get upset. I got an angry text off my brother saying that Aaron needs to be punished for what she said because it was inappropriate and made Ariel inconsolably upset. I've refused to punish Aaron and my brother is now not talking to me and said that Aaron is a bully and that I'm not the one who has to deal with Ariel being upset. Not the butthole. Punishing her would be ridiculous. She apologized for upsetting Ariel and that should be enough. It's a bit weird that your brother thinks that Aaron should be punished, rather than teaching/helping Ariel cope. Although I admit that I have very little personal experience with autism. I understand that Ariel may not comprehend it, but it just seems weird that your brother would insist Aaron be punished when he knows that she is also autistic. Aaron already apologized to Ariel and Ariel accepted her apology. What does your brother expect to accomplish by punishing Aaron after the fact? The girls have already sorted it out. Your brother on the other hand seems unhinged. You're not the butthole. Not the butthole. I can't find a logical reason to punish Aaron. Aaron has the right to her factual opinion. Dolls do not have feelings. Ariel also has the right to her emotional opinion that dolls do have feelings. Honestly, many therapists use dolls to simulate a person and use human-based emotions for that doll. So there may be some logic behind Ariel's opinion. However, your brother...
I'm not gonna lie, I can feel my IQ drop each second I've been doing this. I might need to stop the stream. Oh god, that was a terrible idea. It was funny, but man, that made my brain into mush. I can't do that. Fuck. Yeah, no. Good idea. Can't do it though. That's fucked. I'm gonna stop stream now, and then I'm gonna listen to an audiobook of Shakespeare or something, just to regain some brain power. Oh, bye, I guess. Fucking hell. My mind is actually all foggy at the moment.